Flavin to jump in and finish this part of the conference with the experience of the Irish prison service that actually continued with their training. John, can you join us? Can you hear us?
Hello, Peter. Yes, I can hear you. I'm having some more technical difficulties this morning, and I may have difficulty sharing my presentation, but I can just run through it anyway. I know we're tight on time, so I can do it quickly for you, just to kind of keep us moving. I'm going to just see if I can find it here. No, I don't know where we've gone with this. Okay. Begin solar. Can you hear me?
Well, actually, it shows that there are some connectivity troubles. So please try again.
Can you hear me?
Now it's okay on our side.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Peter? Hello?
Yes, John, please try to speak.
Can you hear
Then
me?
we'll see if it works.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Yes, you can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, everybody. As Peter said, my name is John Flavin, and I'm from the Irish Prison Service College. And we continued with our training through COVID-19. Unfortunately, I'm having technical difficulties this morning, so I cannot share my slides with you, but I can talk you through them. Okay. And so what I'm going to cover this morning is an overview of the Higher Certificate of Custodial Care. And that's the 2-year third level education program that all of our recruit prison officers have to undertake. I'll then give a brief overview of COVID-19 from an Irish perspective, a COVID-19 from the Irish Prison College perspective, what our continuity strategy contained, and our conclusion. So the reason I'm going to give you an overview of our Higher Certificate in Custodial Care was because it directly impacted on our decision to continue with the training. So as I said, all recruit prison officers are obliged to undertake a higher education program called the HCCC, and that's the Higher Certificate in Custodial Care. That's a 2-year program that consists of 4 semesters. The first semester is the initial 12 weeks of training which the recruits undertake here in the Irish Prison Service College. Once they finish semester 1, they're assigned to a prison where they work full-time. But during their work and their full-time work, they must complete semesters 2, 3, and 4. And that's delivered by our partner, which is a third level institution called Waterford Institute of Technology. And we give them day release to attend college for approximately 5 days for each semester. Our program for recruit prisoners is an accredited program. So therefore, we must abide by the accreditation requirements. So on our framework qualification, our training for recruit prison officers is at a level 6, but on the European framework qualifications, it would be a level 5. Okay, and the program is delivered in line with the academic criteria for the European credit transfer system. and there are 120 gains for the duration of the course. So just moving then to the situation in Ireland, and I'll come back, I'll link in why that was important shortly. But just in relation to Ireland, on the 27th of January, Ireland set up a national public health emergency team to monitor the situation with regard to COVID. We hadn't had any incidents of COVID at that time. On the 26th of January, I suppose the first action that our government take was to cancel a Six Nations rugby match between Ireland and Italy. And at that time, unfortunately, Italy were really, really struggling with the virus. On the 20th of February, was confirmed in the Republic of Ireland. And then on the 3rd of March, we had our second. On the 6th of March, 60 members of a Cork University hospital had to self-isolate following the first community transmission of COVID-19. So you can see in a short space of time, things were starting to heat up with regard to COVID. And unfortunately, on the 11th of March, we had our first fatality from the virus. And then significantly on the 12th of March, our Prime Minister, or Taoiseach as we call him, announced the closure of schools and colleges and all other facilities, childcare facilities. And we moved essentially from a containment phase to a delay phase. So how that impacted, or how that coincided with what we were doing here in the college. So on the 6th of February, we brought in a new class of recruit prison officers, and they commenced semester 1 of their training. We brought in a class of 24 prison officers. While they were, or after 3 weeks of their training, Ireland recorded its first case of COVID-19. And 5 weeks into their training, the government announced a shutdown. And at that time, the government decreed that nobody, where possible, nobody was to attend work. Our public transport system shut down, and only essential services were to attend in person at work. We, being a prison service, were deemed to be an essential service. So then we had to make a decision, and we had to decide, although prison work is essential, was training of prison officers essential? So we asked these questions: should the training continue? And what were the consequences if we didn't continue? And if we did continue, could we train our recruit prison officers safely and up to a level where they were competent to work independently in a prison? And so I suppose the questions we looked at, the first, could we train, if we had to shorten our training program, could we train our recruit prison officers to go into a prison and to operate competently? Because at that stage, we didn't know what impact COVID was going to have on the staffing of our prisons. So if we had a big outbreak in a prison, then at least if we could get these recruit prison officers to be able to work independently in a prison, we would have a critical mass that could go in and take over. So we consulted with our HR department. Let me just see, sorry. And so we had discussions with them, and they went off and spoke with the Department of Justice, and we decided then that we were going to go ahead. It's just also, if we had decided not to train, our recruit prison officers become full employees of the Irish Prison Service. So they were on the payroll. So if we didn't train and they couldn't go to the prison, it meant that we would have to send them home, and then they would have to stay at home and be paid, because we didn't conduct any of our training in the first semester online. So we decided then that we would continue with the training, and we consulted with our infection control team, and we put in place our strategy. So broadly speaking, our strategy was under 3 different headings in terms of facilities, education of our staff, and training. So in terms of our facilities, we put in a temperature checking station in the college. So anybody who went to the college had to check their temperature. introduced multiple hand sanitizing stations around the building. We organized floor signage to ensure that people maintain social distance of at least 2 meters. We reduced the capacity in our canteen from about, I think it was about maybe 60 people down to 24. We also then put in place a dedicated isolation room just in case we had a person became symptomatic during the day and couldn't make their own way off site. And then we looked at every room in the college and we designated the room capacity and put signs up on the doors for every room in the college. In terms of education of our staff, our infection control team provided staff with COVID-19 training. And that training gave an overview of the definition of COVID-19. It also it spoke about, and I just have the document here. Excuse me now, just for 1 second. Here. Yeah, so we spoke about, we told them about the symptoms, and also instructed our staff that if they developed any flu-like symptoms, that they weren't to come to work at all. They were to contact the general practitioner, their doctor, and then they would be sent for testing. So we delivered a comprehensive training program to our staff, and we strongly emphasized to err on the side of caution, and if they developed any type of symptoms, they were not to come to work. I suppose then, just in terms of training, so we cancelled all non-essential training. So the only training that went on in the initial periods of COVID was our recruit prison officer training. So, as I mentioned, our training program is bound by accreditation rules. So we had to ensure that the quality of our training remained in line with the academic requirements. But we were also very aware that our training could have to be cut short. So what we did was we reviewed our recruit prison officer syllabus, and we brought forward those modules which were essential to them to be able to operate independently in a prison. So we brought forward our prison craft and communications module, our crisis conflict resolution training. So in our classrooms, we moved our recruit prison officers to a classroom that was twice the size of the one that they had been in all the time, so we could ensure social distance in the classroom. We supplied them with virucidal wipes so that they wiped down their own counter. They never moved chairs, and they wiped down their own desk. We also we staggered their meal breaks to make sure that they weren't all going for meals together. So yeah, and then we gave them a strong education also on social distancing and socialization after hours. For parts of our training where we could not ensure social distancing, in other words, our personal protection techniques, our control and restraint, we received advice from our infection control people. So everybody had to wear a mask. We had to scale back the intensity of the training to make sure that masks didn't slip. And we managed to get our training done in 10 weeks because we did have some external trainers who worked with us, but unfortunately their organizations wouldn't allow them to travel to the college. But we did manage to maintain our academic requirements in the 10 weeks of training. And we successfully passed out 2 groups so far, and I have a group now currently in training with 2 more by the end of the year. I suppose, you know, just I'm really apologies for my technical difficulties. So I'm just going to finish with the conclusions here. That I suppose the successes that we consider to date in the way we approached our training was, that we maintained the training to the level that was required by our academic partner. We have a third class currently in training, and we've 2 more to come. We have had a couple of scares in terms of COVID, but I suppose our success is measured that by once we have a suspected case, we begin contact tracing immediately. And of the 4 or 5 cases that we've had in the college, no close contacts were identified. So that was a really good result for us. On the downside, I suppose there was a lack of opportunities for our recruit prison officers to socialise after hours. They didn't have a passing out parade because that's a family affair, and we could not bring group. And then, as I mentioned, our guest lectures and couldn't come. And a lot of those lectures, while they weren't essential, they really added colour and context to the work that the prison staff were going to do. Look, that's the end of my presentation, because I know we're well over time. My apologies again for my technical difficulties, and if there's any questions, please just work away.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much. Just one very short question that came to my mind. With this second wave of the COVID and probably the need to repeat these restrictions, are you going to include any technology for educational activities like Zoom or Skype and these kind of technologies into educational activities?
Okay, yeah. So as I mentioned, our semesters 2, 3, and 4 now, they are all online. They're delivered by our partner because all universities in Ireland anyway are going to online platforms. A lot of what we do requires role play, workshops. It needs face-to-face, and it wouldn't really lend itself to online. We do have one part of semester 1 that's delivered by our partner Waterford, and that's a learning to learn module. And we've had to be innovative in how we come up, and our staff have actually come up with a solution to ensure that our recruits can get that important part of the training. So now what we plan to do, because we have been very successful, hopefully, maybe it was luck or maybe it was just due to the measures we put in, but we feel that we've really put in robust risk management into our trainings. So, you know, we are now currently experiencing a second wave, or the beginning maybe of a second wave, because cases are increasing in Ireland, but we're going to continue. So we have a group in now, group 3, who are in their 4th week of training. And we have another group to come on the 19th of October and one again in November. So no, we just keep hammering home the message to our recruits about hand hygiene, social distancing, respiratory etiquette, and you know, because we just don't know how it will affect our prisons, because on any day we could have a lot of staff taken out of the prisons.
Okay, thank you very much, John.